Hello, welcome to Jadekind Gaming. My name is Adam, and today I have a flip through and review of the core rulebook for Everyday Heroes. Probably should have done this a while ago. This came out last year, early to mid last year, enough that there's been actually a lot of support for the product already. But it was a product I was excited for before the Kickstarter even launched, because it was promoted as like a updated version of D20 Modern, which I loved back in the 3rd edition era of D&D. It's 5e compatible, so rules I knew, and just sort of some of the stuff they started showing about, I was like, that looks fun. It is designed with the cinematic kind of idea, the action movie or whatever kind of concept. So much so that many of the adventures that they have come out, or product support that they come out with, are cinematic adventures, which are books that include some rules, some crunch, new classes, some have origins, new equipment, whatever, and like a short little adventure and lore for a setting of a movie. We have The Crow, Escape from New York, Kong Skull Island, Pacific Rim, Universal Soldier, Total Recall, Highlander, and Rambo. Of those, pointing out all of which I obviously bought, The Crow and Rambo I have seen some small portions of while other people were watching. None of those movies have I seen. But it also includes cool stuff to expand on the game. And that is fun. And then, of course, they have their vault that combines just the rules. Anyways, lots of product support. Today, I just want to look through the core book, because it's a hefty tome. It gives you plenty to go with. But before opening up this book, I won't point it, because this game is, as I said, an evolution of D20 Modern for the 3rd 3.5 era of D&D, and so they came out with this. I haven't even opened it from the shrink, but they have like an alternate cover. Same insides, alternate cover that matches the old look. So awesome. But it has the heroes from the cover of the main book. Anyways, just pointing out that exists. I'm filming this a little before I'll get it out. And it's currently still available for a bit of an extra cost on their website from the ones they printed when they originally crowdfunded. You may want to pick that version up. Anyways, getting in here, Everyday Heroes by Evil Genius Games. Fun. Whatever, 460 pages. So this is based on the 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons rules, the open game license, but it is itself its full rules. It has all the rules in there, so things like what are polyhedral dice and an example of play is included. You only need to get this. You don't need to have a copy of the D&D rules if you don't play fantasy. But it does a lot of things different. So Heroes gives you steps for creating heroes, and this is a great chart for figuring out what class and archetype. So your archetype are your strong, agile, tough, smart, wise, and charming heroes, which in D&D's terms, those would be what would be called classes, and then what they call classes are what D&D would call subclasses. Strong has brawler, heavy gunner, and MMA fighter, and then etc. down the line. This chart is awesome for the primary reason of this column here, the simplicity column, which warns you things like all of the smart heroes are complex. Those are challenging characters to play. Probably not something to play if it's your first role-playing game. On the other hand, things like the heavy gunner, the martial artist, the bodyguard, the commando are simple. Those are relatively easy on the kind of rules that they use to play. So just helping with figure out what kind of character to build, especially for newer players, or if you're bored with the game and wanting something more complex, that is a great thing to have. I love that. Anyways, carrying on, It explains stuff, what the attributes are, all that kind of thing. A lot of stuff that, you know, is repeated from being aware of 5th edition rules and how to level up. Okay, so when you make your character, you choose a few things. The core rules assume you're human, so your origin is just human, and determining stats is in here. Yeah. All right, ability modifiers. Yeah. So here is that, how to determine stats. So you do that. And then choices. Background, profession, archetype, and class. Then other stuff. But, so, background, for example. Has a number of things: ability score, increased language, skill proficiencies, equipment proficiencies, and iconic equipment, and a special feature. You don't get all of them necessarily, but you get stuff from them. Just choosing a random one here. Bookworm gives you ability score increase of intelligence or wisdom increased by 1 to a maximum of 20. You get an additional language. You get either natural sciences or social sciences skill proficiency. The iconic equipment is a first edition of a rare book and a well-used bookmark and special feature. Have you ever read? You can use your proficiency bonus on any ability check to recall knowledge on the subject of authors and literature. Little ability, some things, just that. And there's pages of backgrounds and instructions to help you with creating one. Professions, your next choice there. Again, choosing one arbitrarily. Academia, so pursuit of knowledge. Sample careers would be librarian, preschool teacher, private school teacher, public school teacher, university professor, etc. Ability score increase. Increase your intelligence and 2 other ability scores of your choice by 1 to a maximum of 20. You choose an additional language. Skill proficiencies in persuasion and either natural sciences or social sciences. Iconic equipment. Laptop computer, laser pointer, school ID card. Wealth level of 3. When we get to the equipment section, I'll brief that, but again, it's based on D20 Modern. They use a wealth system, so it takes into account things that are like you have a credit score and such. And special feature, debate. You can use intelligence instead of charisma on checks involving persuasion, as long as the check relates to topics of academia. You gain advantage on such checks. And carrying on, and a system for creating a new profession. So, you have that. Archetypes and classes. And it goes over all the stuff you're going to get from your archetype and class, etc. But we'll just grab first one for an example. Strong heroes. Gives you your stuff for leveling up. Your proficiency bonus as it increases. And if you notice, they only go to 10th level. This game only goes to 10th level. These are everyday heroes. They have teased the idea that at some point in the future, nothing announced yet, they may do like a superheroes kind of game. And that might have rules that go further than 10. But leveling up in the core rules and any of the cinematic adventures, it's all 10th level. You get pretty powerful by 10th level, and ultimately they kind of went with, hey, most D&D classes games don't go much above that anyways. You have a defense bonus. The way defense and armor works is all different, but essentially you have defense, meat shield, strength modifier, plus strong hero defense bonus, plus 10. And that's basically instead of your armor class. Armor only affects actually the last hit ever, like what would take you down if you're wearing armor. Otherwise, your actual defense bonus instead of your AC is based on your class and your primary stat. You know, get hit points, hit dice, and a few features: reckless attack, power attack. And it says when you get feats, which when you get feats are 2 minor feats or 1 major feat. That'll be explained when we get to feats. And then like the first class, Brawler, which gives you proficiencies and saves, skills, equipment, and then recommendations for equipment. Though you can choose whatever you can afford based on your wealth level. There's not like a limit, like your wealth level's not going down because you're buying stuff. And then you get your talents. So they have smash damage, slash with power attack, extra numbers here, and then talents like crush, hurl, smash, rampage, bits and pieces, haymaker, unstoppable, ultimate brutality. As they level up, they get extra talents, things to do, etc. Heavy gunner, MMA fighter, our agile heroes, dexterity based. Have the martial artist, the scoundrel, the sharpshooter, our tough heroes, which include damage reduction. Have the bodyguard, the commando, the scrapper, our smart heroes, which start getting into genius points and plans. Again, these are more complex heroes, but they have multiple pages because there are plans, things that they can do. They're not spells, but some of them are kind of spells. For any of the mental-based classes. But we get engineer, who has a companion. We have the hacker, the mastermind, the scientist, who gets like chemicals and such. We have our wise heroes, who has focus. So instead of genius, they have focus. Again, another point system, pool system that they have to cast their not spells. We have the hunter, again has companion, like an animal or whatever. The master, which has key, so kind of a monk. The sleuth, and we have our charming heroes, who have influence dice and tricks. Again, some not quite spells. Smart heroes are the most spell-like, but all of these have ways that make it where they can do stuff that's maybe unexpected. But we get the duelist, the icon, celebrity. Looks like a fun one to me. The leader, and the manipulator. So, classes, archetypes, lots of fun things that manage. And while I say intelligence heroes have spells, none of them are magic spells. Like some of them are things that are just, you were smart enough to prepare, or you know a thing. Things like that feel spell-like in the moment in their implication, but in flavor are not, I suppose. Then we have whatever calculations like speed, proficiency bonus, perception, equipment. Then like persona, if you want to do motivations, beliefs, virtues, flaws, quirks, all that. You can do that, whatever. Finish up your character. Equipment. So, first here we have wealth, ranging from wealth level 0, you are nearly penniless, owning nothing more than what you carry, to, say, wealth level 3 is pretty common. You are the upper middle income range, you likely own a home, and one or more cars. Money might be tight at times, but your finances are secure, and any debt you have is less than the assets you own. Up to, really, 5 for players. 6 is usually restricted to, like, NPCs, or there's a class in one of the adventure cinematic adventures that lets you get it. But so we're just going to look at 5 of, you are a multi-millionaire, probably owning more than one home, multiple vehicles, a yacht, and whatever other luxuries you desire. You have extensive assets and savings, which might include owning one or more businesses. Then 6 is further than that. Anyways, when you buy things, they have to be like within your wealth range or rules accordingly. Windfalls for temporary boost to finances. Financial disasters or changing professions can alter your wealth level. It's a wealth system rather than things having an actual cost. So like as they get equipment packs, quick ways to buy things, entertainer's pack, duelist pack, bodyguard pack, just groupings of equipment. And each of them has price level. There is also everyday stuff. Bag stuff, car stuff, pocket stuff. Which pocket stuff's the shortest, so I'll just read that. Pockets don't hold much, but they might contain a smartphone, wallet, credit cards, cash, ID cards, keys, a pocket knife or tool, and lip balm. And there's other stuff that's commonly in a car or a bag. Really useful as a DM if your players just want to loot somebody. Everyone kind of carries more or less the same kind of stuff. It's like, unless they got something special. Anyways, so there's that. There's different packs. Specialized kits for camping, disguise, demolition, police kit, mechanics kit, toolkits. Rules on equipment like bulk and such. We get weapons, melee weapons, and ranged weapons and armor of basic and advanced and historical, so like a javelin or a spear or whatever, and improvised. We get rules for that, and military equipment. We get everything else like ammunition, which other than special ammunition, basically is kind of, you should have enough bullets. Just keep your gun, stocked. You don't see the action movie heroes going to the, hunting store and picking up their bullets. No, they have them. It's there. Electronics, from smartphones and computers and such. Hardware, specialty goods, sporting goods, vehicles, which are broken down like a junker, luxury car, muscle car, race car, sports car, common car, just generic types, which have a bunch of stats, all which go into chases and vehicular combat later on. But then we also have commercial land vehicles, military land vehicles, boats, aircraft, and some of them have like integrated aircraft weapons and such. And then we get places, just a few places and the price level for them, and sort of ideas of what they can do: armory, home, safe house, laboratory, storage unit, studio, workshop, places. Which, if you're living in a modern world, you might want to have a house and then like a workshop where you go and do stuff, and price levels and some real quick gamified guidelines for using them. Chapter 7 is feats. I love the feats in this game because they are broken down into minor and major feats. They're broken down other ways too, but so we have our basic feats, which are things like one ability increases by 1 point, expertise in a skill you're already proficient in, equipment proficiencies, wealth level increasements, skill proficiencies, saving throw proficiencies, and it's giving 1, but it's a minor feat, so you get to choose 2, so it would equal the D&D, plus 2 to 1 ability score or plus 1 to 2 ability scores. That is just taking this one twice, but you can break it up and make things combined how you want. It also means that with advanced feats that do all sorts of other stuff, if they're minor, then you can also, that's, when you get ability score plus this interesting thing. But if you'd rather just get 2 small interesting things, you could do that too. So many more choices. Anyways, we have minor, we have a few major, and we have multi-class feats that there's a lot of major of. That's how multi-class is done in this game. Which the big thing with that is, you can multi-class into another archetype and get some of the base stuff from that archetype, and then maybe start going up in the class, one of the class or more of the classes from that archetype. But also, if let's say you are a strong hero, brawler, you could then take heavy gunner as a multi-class, and you could multi-class between what in D&D would be the subclasses of the class. And that's why I love it. They're all major feats, and they all give a lot of stuff. And then these are just the charts. Here's where it actually tells you what everything does. They're broken up by the same categories. Many feats, multiple levels of multi-class feats. Fun. Game rules. Tells you all the core rules because you don't need the D&D books for it. Some things are different, like how proficiencies work. Explaining the skills, saves, conditions, some different conditions like burning, intoxication, Instead of, I think, sickened replaced poisoned. It's a few things. Combat, fairly similar to D&D, with a few extra options. One of the big notable ones, Second Wind, is just here. It's an action anyone can take, so that's useful. And then reactions, in addition to opportunity attack, dive for cover, which is a reaction to an area of effect to try and get out of the way of it. Anyways, how attacks work, basic rules, play the game, fairly similar to 5th edition D&D. Miscellaneous rules like companions, because again, a couple of the classes had companions. Environmental stuff, falling, suffocation, dehydration, underwater. Restraints, breaking stuff, hiding items, traps, like landmines, chases and vehicles. Special rules for how to run a chase and that, because that's big on action movies. So we got fun rules for chases, and then vehicle rules, including like blown out tires, losing control, risking a crash, and how all the vehicle numbers and statistics work. Mastering the game, because again, this is a one book core rulebook, so there is no Dungeon Master's Guide. This just has your GM's toolkit built right in. Setting DCs, designing encounters, a lot more rules for chases, like specifics like, things that get in the way of a chase, different types of chases, foot chase, vehicle chase, travel pacing, hacking, snipers, calling the cops, because it's a modern day game, landslides, optional rules like tracking ammunition if you want, sudden death, things like poisons and injuries and diseases like becoming a zombie or a werewolf, drugs, all the modern day stuff. And then running the game, which is a lot of basic, some of how the stuff, game works, some advice for just running a game that's any role-playing game kind of advice, how to pace an adventure, how to use pre-made adventures, how to make NPCs, how to give levels, etc. Adventure lengths. Yeah. Here. Setting. Setting is fun because it goes through just some years of, like, nuclear weapons in 1945, jet airliners, 1952, the space age, DNA sequencing, 1982 is personal computers, cell phones, 1990, World Wide Web, 94, Web 2.0, 2004, GPS, smartphone, just like how different technology changes. And then alternate settings, post-apocalyptic, urban fantasy, distant future, alternate timelines, different genres, just different stuff for that, how to handle different kinds of players, because again, all the stuff you would need just in a general, let's say this is your first role-playing game, they made it where they meet the needs for that. And then, again, one book for this game, Opponents and Allies. We have our monster manual here, so the basics of how those work, and then just charts of challenge rating 0, 1/8, 1/4, 1/2, 1, going on up the challenge rating. That's where each of the colors change, all the way up to challenge rating 15. Remember, the players only get to level 10. But we get different NPCs like criminals, here, cultists, espionage, law enforcement, military NPCs, security, then miscellaneous people like civilians, crazed maniacs, hunters, kickboxers, mad scientists. You get robots, which are like, drones and robotic dogs. Animals, gotta have some animals. It's useful. Then historic and prehistoric NPCs. So historic people, like ancient warriors and ninjas. Because who knows what kind of... does your game have time travel? So they've set you up for that. Prehistoric animals. Then science fiction NPCs, like aliens. Which is where we get our Challenge Rating 15 component. Futuristic robots. So these are different than the other robots. Mutated humans, like sewer mutants and super mutants. Supernatural NPCs, so demons and vampires. Zombies. Other supernatural monsters like reanimated skeletons, ghouls, gargoyles, mummies, werewolves. Mummy Lord. Then creating new allies and NPCs, just some quick guidelines for how to make them. And then the appendice of 5e changes. Here is a few pages explaining what is different between this game and 5th edition D&D, and to some extent, how to like guide between them. Got a big old index to help reference and look up things as needed. Get our character sheets, which I really like. Here's our front sheet. Has spots for each genius, focus, and influence, because with the multi-classing, you could get all of them if you wanted. You can make yourself a real complex character. Little double dot system for proficiency and expertise, because there's a lot of ways to get expertise in this game. Spare sheets to write down talents and feats. Back sheet with persona, information, biography. And then sheets for places and vehicles. Vehicle sheet includes some of the basics of the vehicle rules. Again, it's in the open game license. And then there's just like a notes section in the back, which feels like maybe they just had like, whatever, at this point, based on the number of pages, there were going to be a few extra pages, so might as well. But also, doesn't hurt. I remember books having notes sections in the back, like game manuals and such, when I was a kid. I like it. I don't know if I'll ever use it, but I like it. It's fun. So, that is Everyday Heroes. I haven't gotten to play it yet. I've started like maybe I was going to try to and help someone get through making a character. But I didn't get to start running the game. Life was crazy last year. From relationships, yay, good crazy, to my home flooding and being displaced for months, boo, bad crazy. And I just didn't get to it. But I still really want to, and I love the rules. I am continuing to support it from other Kickstarters they've done since, to other crowdfunding that is coming out. If not out, I'm pre-recording this. Might be out or might about to be out for military heroes and such. I want to just get more of this product line. It is fun to me. But I loved the D20 Modern games. Those were some of the most fun games that I played growing up. And this has that feel in the 5e rules that I've already come to know. Anyways, I will link down below where you can pick it up online. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, because it is a game that I am excited for. And at some point over on the observatory, I will bring content from it there with, actual plays, because I will be getting to it eventually. Thanks for watching. Bye.